passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue.
Sydney Sweeney has very keen.
I'm not here to talk.
In fact, when someone does look good, they call it, quote, Nazi propaganda. And you might know I'm talking a little bit about the Sydney Sweeney ad, and we're going to get to that. But before I do, I want to make sure you guys know that I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you sticking with me and staying as a subscriber. If you went through my hiatus, which I will discuss briefly here soon, but don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, comment what you think, share it with your friends, because I'm going to keep going. We still got a woke mob to fight. Even though some people say woke is dead, we still got more to do. And if you want to support the show, don't forget you can send in through tip. You can do Venmo, Cash App, anything like that. I'd appreciate it. Thank you so much. But then we get to this, the Sydney Sweeney ad. And so I'll pull this up here. This is from Pop Crave, because I want to try to get some sources in here that might be impartial on the discussion. But Sydney Sweeney's American Eagle advertisement is receiving criticism. And we're going to look at some of those critics here soon. From the jeans pun that some say echoes eugenics and white supremacy. Oh God. Oh God. Let's take a look and listen once.
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue.
Sydney Sweeney has very keens.
I'm not here to tell you to buy American Eagle jeans. And I definitely won't say that they're the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn. Or that they make your butt look amazing. Why would I need to do that? But if you said that you want to buy the jeans, I'm not going to stop you. But just so we're clear, this is not me telling you to buy American Eagle jeans.
Sydney Sweeney has very keens.
You see what I did there, right? Hi, I'm Sydney Sweeney, and I'm from Spokane, Washington. I can work as a local hire as well, though, and I'm available for the American Eagle jeans campaign shoot.
Profile and hands, please. Thanks. We'll be in touch.
Sydney Sweeney has very keens.
Next.
Super simple. Super simple. Sydney Sweeney has great genes. Frankly, a kind of lazy pun, but not totally false. Not totally false. This is a very stunning woman that physically attractive, no doubt, and has garnered significant attention through her work in film as being particularly attractive, objectively. Sydney Sweeney has great genes. She's nowhere in there. Is she saying support the Third Reich because her genes are the perfect type of genes? Nowhere in there. Is it saying Sieg Heil and follow me into battle against evil other races? No. All it says, Sydney Sweeney has great genes. And now all of a sudden the left has lost their minds. They didn't lose their minds when Beyonce was stripping naked in a laundromat and talking about her Levi's jeans. No. Or even the fact that Beyonce over the years has gotten particularly whiter in her appearance. No one's talking about that being white supremacy. But Sydney Sweeney saying that she has great genes is, in fact, somehow white supremacy. And there's a ton of critics for this. And so we'll take a look at some of these. Let's go through here. We have this one. This one I thought was just phenomenal. This girl, she goes in front of an American Eagle. She sees the advertisement, as many of you I'm sure can see. I have my mouse there. Yeah, Sydney Sweeney has great genes. And this is her reaction.
Hey, you want to go to American Eagle?
Oh, I can't go in there because I'm black.
Hey.
Oh, I can't go in there because I'm black. You want to be a victim at that point. That's truly what this is you want to see the racism. Look, and I'm going to say this multiple times throughout these reactions. is that if you hear a racist dog whistle that no one hears, well, let's break down what a dog whistle is. A dog whistle, a genuine dog whistle, is one that you blow and it makes a high pitch frequency so that only dogs can hear it. So if you're hearing a racist dog whistle when no one else is, what does that say about you? This girl could more than happily go in there and buy a pair of the great jeans. But alas, she hears that racist dog whistle. What does that mean? What does that mean? Think about it. We'll get to it. Don't worry, we'll get to it. But there are other critics as well of the Sydney Sweeney's jean advertisements, like this one. This one, I just thought she was very funny. And so let's take a look and a listen at this woman. White woman who clearly is mentally stable from the significant tattoos and piercings. But let's take a look and listen to what she has to say about the Sydney Sweeney's jeans advertisement.
You guys are complaining about that Sydney Sweeney jeans ad, so I went and saw it. That's Nazi propaganda. Wow. I thought it was
I love that. Listen to that one more time.
Nazi propaganda.
Nazi propaganda.
Wow. I thought it was going to be like kind of bad. That's going to be in history book. You guys are complaining about that Sydney Sweeney jeans ad, so I went and saw it. That's Nazi propaganda. Wow. I thought it was going to.
Okay, that's wild to me. Wild to me. That's Nazi propaganda. Shut up. Shut up. Because it's not some overweight, non-binary, purple-haired feminazi Nazi with a ton of piercings and is androgynous in look and visually unappealing to pretty much anyone that looks at her, unless you're lying to yourself. Because it's not that, it's Nazi propaganda. Calm down. But she's not the only one. We also have this one right here. This is another critic. I haven't even watched this one yet. So we'll just, with no intro, let's take a look and a listen.
I really wasn't going to weigh in on this, but here we go. It is so difficult to grow up as a person of color, specifically a woman, and view yourself as beautiful in any sense of the word growing up in this country. I remember growing up in a predominantly white community, wishing myself out of this body, out of this culture, take my name, if it meant that I could wake up blonde-haired and blue-eyed, never having to explain who I am or worry about being accepted. That is why this American Eagle ad with Sydney Sweeney is especially off-putting. There's a lot of rhetoric right now online about the political ideologies that this represents, and I don't discount that, but for me, I can't help but think about the 13-year-old brown girl who gets all of her denim at American Eagle, who already struggles to see her beauty and worth in a world that continues to value white, Eurocentric beauty standards, which I naively thought by this point we would have moved the needle on. And this girl is now wishing she too could wake up with blonde hair and blue eyes. It took me so long, too long in my life to look in the mirror and see beauty. And I hate that that continues to be a shared experience for young brown girls in this country.
So here's basically what this woman is saying. What this woman is saying is that white people, and as she puts it, Eurocentric beauty standards cannot be celebrated because it makes other people feel bad. So essentially, the love everyone mentality and everyone is beautiful is wrong, according to her. That's essentially what she's saying, because you're not allowed. This ad is only wrong to her because it is a white woman in it. If it was a brown girl, it'd be perfectly fine, because then it would be helping people that are dealing with their own issues, not my issues, not Sydney Sweeney's issues, dealing with their own issues mentally. We need to cater to them in our beliefs of beauty so that they don't necessarily feel bad. And look, I'm not even saying that this girl, this critic right here, isn't in some way beautiful. Sure. She looks like she takes care of herself. But like, ultimately, it is no one else's problem to cater to your needs. And if the majority of people look at Sydney Sweeney and say, that's an attractive person and I want to look attractive, so then I am going to purchase American Eagle jeans, which is the point of the advertisement, by the way. Let's be clear here. That's the point of this advertisement. There's a lot to break down in this video. And that's the first thing that needs to be said, is the point of this advertisement was not about uplifting Eurocentric beauty standards. No, it was Sydney Sweeney's hot, has a good body. So we want people to buy our jeans, and we're going to show them what a really good looking girl looks like in our clothes, so then maybe other people will buy them thinking they'll look like her. Super basic marketing tactic. Everything about this marketing is so unbelievably simple. And then this woman starts talking, this critic right here, starts discussing this idea of, well, people are discussing the political meanings behind this. No. Nobody would have been discussing the political meanings behind this ad if people hadn't, like this woman, hadn't come out and started saying, Nazi propaganda, Eurocentric racism. Like, if you didn't make it political, it wouldn't have been political. A perfect example, once again, is the Beyonce Levi's jeans. No one talked about that. I mean, the only people that talked about it was anybody being like, man, looks good. Nobody came out and was like, that's black nationalism. That's white nationalism. Oh my gosh, everything she's wearing underneath the jeans is all white. Beyonce must be a KKK member. No, nobody was saying that. And why was nobody saying that? Because it's only political if you make it political. It's become this divisive issue because people have come in and said, this is about Eurocentric beauty standards. And also all of this is rich coming from the side that says you can't choose who you love. You must accept homosexuality. You must accept all forms of polygamy and all the sexual deviances that are promoted by the left through the LGBTQ agenda. Except you can't call Sydney Sweeney beautiful. You can't say Sydney Sweeney's hot, because that doesn't fit the narrative. Somebody who is traditionally attractive can't be attractive, because to them, anybody who doesn't look like that is oppressed automatically by those who look attractive. And once again, this is all about the way that you're born. So, you can't choose the color of your skin, so no racism. You can't choose the family you're born into, so we're going to give you all this money. But you also can't choose the genes that you have and whether or not they make you attractive. So why do they hate Sydney Sweeney so much? It's because she is everything that they have fought so hard against. She's normal. She's traditionally attractive. She's white, blonde. And to them, that's the biggest sin you could possibly commit, is being white, blonde, and normal. But that wasn't the last. We also have this one, I still haven't watched this full one. This one's a little bit longer. This is Dr. Kristen, a psychologist who's now trying to convince you that the American Eagle ad, which we just viewed, was intentionally crafted as eugenics-inspired Nazi propaganda. So I think that this one goes even further into the claim of Nazi propaganda. Let's take a look and a listen as to what this pseudo doctor has to say. And I say that jokingly. Here we go.
When a white, blue-eyed woman says, "Munchin' for below," that does not just happen in a vacuum. Let's talk about why this ad doesn't just feel off. It feels familiar, like historically familiar. In 1930s Germany, as we all know, white women with blonde hair and blue eyes were held up as this ideal. Not just beautiful, but genetically superior. The schmatzy regime ran entire campaigns promoting the hereditary fitness of the Aryan women. It's all ridiculous, obviously. There were posters praising blue eyes, propaganda about strong bloodlines. And I won't even get into how they tried to encourage the right women to have babies through cash and medals. Sound familiar? Today, we have a global rise in white nationalist movements, especially in the US. There's literally a town being built in Arkansas for white-only residents. And online, there's been a resurgence in pseudoscience linking to good genes in relations to health, intelligence, beauty. We can look at the autism and disability space. We can look at the new executive order claiming to end crime and disorder on the streets that has really problematic language about people who might be disruptors. But it's not always really obvious executive orders and RFK grinding his voice into your ears. but that's also how it works. It's like a wink, it's a nudge, it's a dog whistle. So when brands casually, on purpose, joke about good genes, all while the right is literally building white-only towns and
remember what I said about dog whistles. Remember that, okay? Only the dog is meant to hear the whistle. So if it's a racist dog whistle, guess only racist dogs hear it, dog.
reviving eugenicist ideology. This isn't just being tone deaf, it's complicity. Eugenics has never ever disappeared. It's just been rebranded. It's hiding in how we talk about things like autism, beauty, intelligence, reproduction. It shows up in medicine and is even currently inhibiting really, really crucial cancer research. And yes, it shows up in denim ads. Sydney has great genes is not just a pun, because if the internet is going mad that your campaign could plausibly double as a schmaltzy propaganda ad in the 1930s, maybe you need to rethink that, or maybe that was the point, especially when you have a bunch of white nationalists on social media applauding the ad for giving them permission to be white. Just because it doesn't look exactly like 1930s propaganda doesn't mean it's not propaganda. It just means the marketing is modernized.
Look, and here's the thing. What she's saying is she comes out and says, well, all these white nationalists are coming out and supporting the ad. The only reason that anybody is really talking about this is because the left came at it first saying it's Nazi propaganda. If you're creating the demon, because let's be honest here. Let's take a moment to consider the other side. Could you see through jumping through a lot of hoops? And if you looked at the lens where everything you looked at was about race and that white people are oppressors and that everybody that is not white is oppressed by the white people, then yes, I totally see how you see this as Nazi propaganda. 100%. I see that. I see why you could come to that conclusion if your worldview is based on let's look at everybody's race first. I could see that. Now, are some white nationalist wackos, people that are like, people call them far right, would not call them far right, like people that are genuinely like ardent racist people supporting this ad? Probably. But would they be as loud about it? Would they be receiving the same attention if you didn't come out and say this is Nazi propaganda? No. Nobody would be listening to them, just as much as nobody really listens to white nationalists any other day of the week. The vast majority of people, they exist in their own bubble, just as much as a lot of these people tend to exist in their own bubble, except for they're quite loud and it becomes difficult to ignore them no matter how hard I try. But don't worry, everybody. It would seem as though the prevailing idea is that the Sydney Sweeney ad is fine. And there's a level of relief, a sigh, where it's like, oh, finally, we can finally say something is attractive with minimal recourse. I don't have to pretend like all these like fat, overweight, not androgynous lesbians are the new beauty standards. I can finally say it. Well, but don't worry too, guys, because other brands have started jumping on this bandwagon. Actually, let's go first because it's the Dunkin one. But I know that Sydney Sweeney is not stopping there. She's got a new ad that just released like yesterday with Hey Dude, and they're almost doubling down on this with just being like, yeah, she's a hot chick doing hot chick things, wearing our clothes. Here's this one with Hey Dude.
You can take the dude out of the country. You can't take the country out of the dude. Wish you were here. You can take the dude out of the
Once again, a super simple ad, because the entire idea of these ads is for women to say, I want to look like that, and men to say, damn, that's hot. That's literally the entire point of the ad. And it's super simple on purpose. But alas, the left will not let it be that way. But Dunkin Donuts jumped on the trend, and I think this one's hilarious. Very quickly, they came out with this ad with a guy named Gavin Casalango, who I've never heard of in my entire life. But let the liberal meltdown ensue when they hear this one.
Look, I didn't ask to be the king of summer. It just kind of happened. This tan, genetics. I just got my color analysis back. Guess what? Golden summer, literally. I can't help it. Every time I drink a Dunkin' Golden Hour refresher, it's like the sun just finds me. So if sipping these refreshers makes me the king of summer, guilty as charged. The Golden Hour refresher, only at Dunkin'.
Oh man, look at that. They're even talking about his skin color more in that one. Oh my God, look at it's the Nazi coffee. It's the Nazi coffee. Gonna have a meltdown over the Nazi coffee. Oh my gosh. Here's the other thing too, is like, if you're stupid enough to look at that and be like, oh my God, that's the rise of the Fourth Reich right there, then you're obviously thinking that everybody else around you is just as stupid, because no normal person looks at that. If you sat down Joe Schmo, who's a mechanic in Timbuktu, West Virginia, and showed him that ad, he'd be like, it's a Dunkin' Donuts ad. Who cares? Cool. He wouldn't care. He wouldn't watch it and be like, yeah, man. White people. No, that's not how people work. But when you look at everything through the context of race, that's how your mind starts to work. And it implicitly starts to make you think like, hey, yeah, we shouldn't like white people, because sure, if you look at some things white people have done in the past, not great things. If you look at things that other races, though, have done if you look at the narrative spun by our public school system, yeah, it makes white people look awful. Awful. It makes every other race look oppressed. And that's kind of what we have now, is we have a lot of people who went through public school systems, or even just the general education system in America, and are basically told that white people are awful. And so then if you look at everything through the concept of race, you're going to come to conclusions like this woman.
Well, I'm off to 7-Eleven for my coffee since Dunkin' wants to act like American Eagle.
If you're one of those people who ran to Dunkin' after the Starbucks boycott started, what are you going to do now? Are you going to keep going back there? Or are they being added to the list? It is a great time to make your coffee at home. Such a good time.
Girl, are you allergic to cinnamon? Did you eat French toast this morning? I think Sydney Sweeney needs to pop a Benadryl. Somebody check on her. Did she owe somebody money or something? What was that American Eagle ad?
Okay, so these are clearly mentally stable people that definitely have good heads on their shoulder. No! These people, once again, they look through the entire world through the concept of race. And so then when you have that psychiatrist earlier who talks about it being a dog whistle, yeah, it's a dog whistle to you because you see everything through the lens of race and would view anything that puts that just says that white people are pretty too. That's racist to you. That's racist to you. And that's ultimately what it's come down to. And so ultimately, when we look at all of these things, we look at all of these different critics, when we look at Sydney Sweeney, who has great genes, we see that there's just a significant disconnect between the liberal, more liberal. I don't want to say it's only liberal, because there's others out there that aren't necessarily falling within the political spectrum, that aren't, they're more of just like the woke. And that tends to be more on the left side of things, where the left looks at beauty and they say everything that was, because they reject tradition so ardently, anything that is traditional, even traditional standards of beauty, which can include brown, black, somewhere in between people, when they look at that, though, it can't be that. And that's shown perfectly when this is back in like May. This woman's already been fired, but there was an obese Democrat influencer, Olivia Juliana is her name, who was briefly brought on to try to attract more young men, not young women, to the Democrat Party, as that seems to be who they're missing. And so take a look and a listen.
Well, I also think it's just so abundantly clear that the people who say these things don't actually spend time talking to young men. You know this because we know each other in real life, but I spend a lot of time on college campuses, and I spend a lot of time with young
men.
I love young men. I love frat guys. And in that, I realized like even the ones that identify as conservative are almost always pro-choice. They're almost always pro-gay marriage. You'd be surprised at the number of them who support Black Lives Matter. And so I feel like people just kind of lump them into this box when the truth is, again, a lot of them are with us on the issues. They're just not part of our coalition because they feel like they're not welcomed in it.
No, okay, few things with that, because I like this clip because I think it's interesting, and I wasn't streaming at the time, so I didn't get a chance to react to it. I like this clip because I think it shows a lot of things. One, it clearly shows they don't understand what a young man would like, because I guarantee you, if you had a Sydney Sweeney looking woman out there campaigning for the Democrats, you'd get a lot more frat guys to come up to you on a college campus. Just the truth. Look, that's ultimately what the college guys like. And so when she comes on here and she says things like, oh, well, young men are young frat guys, as she calls all of them. And she hates how everybody lumps them into conservative. Well, you're lumping them all into young frat guys. When she says that they are generally pro-choice and generally pro-gay marriage, I'm willing to bet, I don't have the numbers on this, but I'm willing to bet most of them, if you ask them what they thought about abortion, they'd say, I don't really care. A lot of them, at best, if they don't have an ardent opinion on it. But I think a lot of them would say, I don't really care. On gay marriage, I'm almost positive they'd say, do what you want, just don't make it affect me. And that's usually what it is. It's usually do what you want and don't let it affect me, which is why they get lumped into conservatives, because a lot of them tend to be more libertarian in their viewpoints. And the Democratic Party is anything but that, because the Democratic Party on issues of LGBTQ stuff is not only gay marriage, but we also are going to teach your kids about it. And we're going to put Dylan Mulvaney as the spokesperson for your beer. And we're going to have taxpayer funded like surgeries for minors. And then most frat guys at that point are like, don't touch the kids. Come on, don't touch the kids. And when it comes to abortion, it's not just do whatever you want, don't let it affect me. It's taxpayer funded abortion up until the point of birth. And in some cases, even after birth, if you're former Governor Ralph Northam of Virginia. Like, that's not what frat guys want. And that's what the liberals don't understand. The liberals and the left and the Democrats do not understand what the frat guy that you're losing so much tend to just be like, I want lower spending. I want more of my money back. I want lower taxes. They care about a lot of that finance stuff that the Democrats are not positively looking on at all. And then they have this woman who clearly doesn't understand them, because, the Democrats don't understand, because this is not the woman that a young frat guy would be like, oh yeah, I'm going to go talk to that girl. They might have a friendly conversation, but you're not going to win them over if you're simply going on physical attractiveness. And then tertiarily, you'd be saying they don't understand them on the issues whatsoever, given that little clip. But that's ultimately what it is the Democrats and the left reject tradition so much that they hate the fitness test, because they hate people being physically fit. How are you supposed to control a populace that can control themselves? They hate the physically attractive, the traditionally attractive, because they represent the oppressor. Clearly, the traditionally attractive, white, blonde hair, blue eyes, good looking gal. Can't have that. And then they hate the tradition in policy. Anything that relates to it. Progress for the sake of progress, unchecked, is a Democrats' leftists' world.